Back in, when I was younger and almost trying to make my way in the sport and trying to get to the next level, it was always, because you have to obviously be successful to be able to make the next step up. But now, obviously, nerves and, everyone's sort of got that fear of failure. But I just almost, as you say, just embrace it and try and have a thought process of, if I didn't feel nervous, if I didn't feel worried about failing for my team and not being able to influence, and it probably means I don't care anymore as much as I used to. So that's how I just try and flip it round. Well, the reason I feel like this is because I care so much, and then just embrace it, and then I'll just go out and, take it head on. The way that I like to sum that sort of whole period up is that it wasn't just a 2-week thing or a couple of months thing. It was like a real build-up over a long period of time of just certain things, all completely different. But I was putting, the great way is I was putting everything that I was going through emotionally into a bottle. And then I was just, again, boom, like filling this thing up. And then eventually it gets full and then just gets too much and then just exploded. And that's what a great way of explaining what happened to me in Nottingham in my room, and then why I took a break, is that I was just bottling everything up and then moving on. Something else would happen, I'd feel a certain way, I'd put my emotions into a bottle, and then just everything just got way too much. I filled up too much and just exploded. And now from going through that, I understand that, and I've openly, I speak to people, I speak to a doctor, take medication. I'm not afraid to say that because, I see it as a huge strength to be able to, admit weakness. Definitely. I mean, you can't pick and choose these things. It's not how the brain or the body works. It's not like you've got a switch in your brain to say, feel good today, feel bad tomorrow. It's not a weakness at all. And I'm absolutely fine with talking about it. And that's one thing that I guess when I came back into playing again, people would sort of talk about it, but I always made a real effort to, if I start a conversation with someone about it, I'll be like, look, if you want to ask me anything, don't feel like you can't, because I'm not don't feel awkward by asking me about certain things. I'll tell you exactly how it is, because I'm not afraid to say it. I'm not afraid to say how I was feeling or what I went through or anything like that, because I've been able to come back from it. And I was at one stage someone who was feeling a certain way but wouldn't speak to anyone about it. And the old adage, how are you feeling? Yeah, good. All right. You know what I mean? So you never know. If I end up speaking to someone, they might be speaking to me because they might be struggling, and they might be asking me to make them feel comfortable about saying, oh, you know what, actually, I don't feel great. So that's one thing that I've been very conscious of doing, is if someone asks me, then I'm not going to not speak about it, because it doesn't bother me to speak about it, to be honest. Yeah, it's I very rarely get back there anymore, but it's one of those places where I was back there a few months ago, and I hadn't, obviously when you're younger growing up, you just know Cockermouth's one of those places where everybody knows everybody. The amount of times I've gone back there and I've not seen someone in 10 years, but they're just oh, all right, Stokesy. You're like, all right, mate, how you doing? It's just where you grew up, school, after school, playing football on the field, cricket down at the field, you go back and just everyone's just how they were. It hasn't changed at all. Still exactly the same place. I drive through the town when I go back there, and then you look at the 12, 13-year-olds doing exactly what I was doing when I was 12 or 13, but I love going back there. It's just, everyone knows everyone. I know everyone there. It's just pretty chilled. No, I think sport was just, ingrained in me from a kid. Rugby, cricket, all that kind of stuff. And then cricket, just loved it. And I chose to do that. I chose to spend all my hours and time down at the cricket nets from morning till sundown. Every person who makes it to the top level has got somewhere where they started, grassroots level, and Cockermouth is where everything started for me. The opportunities I got given at a very good club, 5 minutes away from my house, obviously very fortunate. But that's where everything started for, first opportunity to play in cricket at men's level as a kid against, fully grown men, and even though it's a non-contact sport, the physical side of sport, to then be asked to go and represent my county, which was Cumbria at the time, to then progress through to Durham and then progress through their ranks then into England, but it all started from Cockermouth. The amount of time I spent with my dad as a kid, because Mum was away working, so I had to go with Dad to training, and he was coaching professional athletes, and I was lucky enough to be around that environment for such a young age, even though back then I was just like, I'm at rugby training. But I would be on the field when Dad was doing his training with this team, and like I would be doing my own thing, but then subconsciously I would be, you know, watching my dad not let the team move on to something else until they've perfected it. Because, you know, that's where you train for the game situations. It's like, yeah, it needs to be perfect for us here, for us to be able to do it out there. So I guess just subconsciously, all that kind of stuff that I was taking in as a youngster had a massive help in terms of my attitude and my desire to work hard and try and be as good as I could.